Here we are, guys, at the Dry Tortugas National Park visiting the historic Fort Jefferson. Built in 1846 to guard the entrance to the Gulf of Mexico, the fort later became a Union base and Civil War prison. It's located 70 miles off the shore of Key West, Florida, and is one of the most remote parks in the national park system.
Alrighty, folks, it's all clear to exit the vessel. Welcome to the Dry Tortugas National Park in Fort Jefferson. Just remember, the most important time of the day is 2:45 this afternoon. Everyone must be back on board and check in with me by 2:45. Early day at the Dry.
As you walk through these walls, you're entering the largest brick structure in the entire Western Hemisphere. Over 16 million bricks brought out here by ship. This place was designed to hold nearly 450 cannons, with walls up to 8 feet thick and 45 feet high. But despite its massive firepower, Fort Jefferson never fired a shot in battle. And although construction on the fort continued for over 30 years, it was never fully finished or armed. The enormous open area is the parade ground, once bustling with soldiers, laborers, and eventually prisoners.
Gun rooms, pretty crazy.
The brick archways create this endless tunnel effect, but they also served a purpose, supporting the structure and capturing rainwater in a place with no fresh water.
Wow, here's the cannon.
Heavy.
Yeah. What a large cannon.
Man, that's like the biggest cannon I've ever.
I was just gonna say, this is one of the biggest I've ever seen.
You can climb right in there.
Look at the size of this cannon, guys.
Here we got the 15-inch Rodman from 1871, guys. We put the cat back in here.
Pretty cool. No lights in this fort. It's dark when you're in these little stairwells. Everything's closed there. There's another way down. Yeah, there's a lot to explore, dude. This is crazy how there's just like 40 of these little arches right in a row. The chapel, okay.
Somebody's got to figure out how
Yeah,
to
probably 2 mil is my guess. So this was a chapel right here? Wow. Some new restored brickwork I can see that they've done on the ceiling. At least it appears. Maybe not. Maybe that's original. This looks like a nice fire.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this fireplace, guys. Wow.
Look at that. Some of those bricks are still burnt.
Very cool, yep. Yeah, you can see these black, charred bricks from years and years of fires burning. Running that smoke up this chimney. Up through a whole other floor in this fort until it escapes.
If they hadn't done any restoration, that would be done for all.
Uh-huh. I love these big arches, and then over here these small ones. And you wonder what they were used for. You know, like, what's the real need for these smaller ones here? Communication archway is what it is. The engineer's quarters, small detached magazine near Sallyport. Traverse magazine, soldiers barracks.
The furnace here.
Hot shot furnace.
Interesting. Oh, big one.
Yeah. And you can see this is part of
Oh,
the
yeah,
construction.
it was concreted in.
Yep.
All these giant chunks of
It's kind of almost like a tabby construction. Like some of the ones out in the Carolinas. There's one of the large magazines, guys. We'll check that out here in a moment. Some reconstruction here of the bricks. It was about 180 people on our ferry over here at the Yankee Freedom. But it's pretty cool. Is we've got this whole fort right now to ourselves to explore. So right next to the humongous barracks stood the large magazine storing all the ammunition. You know what's really cool is how they have these little light holes. Right here you can see a slit of light. Similarly right here. So back in the day, there's no electricity and they're relying on these little slits. And these walls are about 3-4 feet thick. There's more. And now you have this beautiful arched ceiling here with the brick. So this is the hallway. You have 2 different entrances, both sides of the fort, and then into the main magazine staging area. So this kept the powder dry and safe. By keeping it safe, it was important to have really thick walls. So that's why they have this huge brick arch over top, so that if cannons came bombarding down into the fort, it would not be possible for them to penetrate the magazine and ignite all the ammunition. Wow, look at that old motor, man. And this doesn't look like a self-bailer. So if this thing gets filled up, you're screwed. The red hot cannonballs. So they would use this furnace, guys, and put cannonballs in here and get them scorching. Heated cannonballs. They'd go in from that end and they'd come out this end. Right here is where they'd come out. And now, when they launch those cannonballs against enemy ships, they're hot and they're gonna catch that ship on fire. So then this is where you'd load them up. You'd put them in that and right there of the furnace, and then they'd slowly cook them. Just a little bit more to explore inside Fort Jefferson. Then we're gonna go get some snorkel gear and go out into the ocean. Yeah, this is some new brick with some wood flooring. Ah, very nice. So this is the prison cell?
I don't know what this thing is, but they've got some project supplies in here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is cool. In memory of Brevet Major Joseph Sim Smith, Assistant Surgeon, U.S. Army, who died at this post of yellow fever, September of 1867. He was only 30 years old.
And his son.
Wow.
On September 18th. So 10 days after his dad.
Wow.
3.5 years old.
Yellow fever, man. In 1874, this fort was abandoned by the U.S. Army due to a hurricane that left it severely damaged, but also due to the yellow fever, which was killing and making so many men and women on this island sick. The fort was not a happy place. These rooms were prison quarters. Fort Jefferson became a military prison in 1861. Its population swelled when President Lincoln commuted the death sentence for deserters into imprisonment at Dry Tortugas.
Fort Jefferson's most famous prisoner was Dr. Samuel Mudd, the doctor who treated John Wilkes Booth after Lincoln's assassination. He was convicted of conspiracy and sent here in 1865, but during a deadly yellow fever outbreak, Mudd helped save lives, earning a presidential pardon in 1869.
So here's Dr. Mudd's cell. It's a pretty large cell. In memory of Dr. Samuel Mudd, 1833 to 1883, imprisoned, Fort Jefferson. Upon occasion of the prevalence of the yellow fever, Samuel A. Mudd devoted himself to the care and cure of the garrison from peril and alarm, and thus saved many valuable lives and earned the admiration and gratitude of all who observed or experienced his generous and faithful service to humanity. And that right there was erected in 1961. So I wonder, like, what this little area was, like if this where his bed was.
Seems like quite a nice.
I mean, this is a huge stall, dude. Like, you don't need half of this if you're a prisoner.
2 windows.
Like, what are you doing with all this space? Like, doing some CrossFit or something?
Maybe they send the sick people right into here, and he had like a patient's.
Maybe. Here's the smaller magazine. Once again, they have these slots to let light in. What a beautiful view here. There's the Yankee Freedom ferry that we came in on. You can even camp here on the island. A lot of birds over there. Wow, that's crazy, dude. Your entire head fits inside the cannon. At least I could still get to a lighthouse. Didn't think I'd be seeing a lighthouse on this trip, but here we are, guys. The Dry Tortuga lighthouse right in Fort Jefferson. Not bad.
You can almost see the lighthouse on the next key down.
Yeah, the loggerhead.
Miles away
That's cool. All right, we've got our snorkel gear and our Saft Jersey Mike's lunch, and we're heading to the beach. Where should we go, right here?
Oh, the water feels good.
Yeah, it does. Well, we took nice refreshing dips in both the North Swim Beach and the South Swim Beach. Now we're walking back around the fort. This concrete pad is all that remains of a massive warehouse that the U.S. Navy built to store the huge amount of coal required to refuel steam-powered warships that were placed in sailing ships. Seems like the tide's coming up. Oh, that wraps up our visit to Dry Tortuga National Park, guys. We're leaving Fort Jefferson here. Had a nice day exploring the historic fort and doing some snorkeling in the two main beaches. Oh, and we got a seaplane that just came in for landing. Maybe bringing some campers out to the island.